Juju Smith-Schuster. He obviously signed with the Kansas City Chiefs 1 year, $10.75 million, but I believe it was like $3 million that was guaranteed. The rest is in incentives. Ray McLeod,
Yeah.
he went to San Fran on a 2-year deal, I think worth upwards of $10 million. Still waiting to find out the guaranteed portion of that contract as well. Then James Washington, my man. I listen. I haven't even been on social, and my man sent me the "How about them Cowboys?" I was like, bro, did he really tweet that? Is this facts? It felt like it was facts. So yeah, this is definitely my man. So he's very excited about going to Dallas, but he's going to Dallas on a 1-year deal. I haven't seen any of the numbers for his contract just yet, but those were the main guys that we lost. And then obviously we brought in Gunnar Olszewski, wide receiver, but more so a return man for a 2-year, $4 million deal. But initial reaction, man, to Juju leaving, man. What were your thoughts on that?
Not surprised. Made sense. Chiefs were in the running all the way back to last year to try to get him over there.
Yeah.
And I just think when it came down to it, it didn't really make sense for Juju to come back or for the Steelers to retain him. Although, after we see this contract, maybe we could have brought him back for like $3 million. He probably wanted those incentives, though, and the Steelers just weren't willing to pay those out if they came to fruition.
So what did you make of I think it was his mom that was putting out the stuff about them wanting to return or whatever, and the Steelers not wanting them back?
They tried to come back.
How did you feel about that?
Probably the case. I mean, I do think he has a strong affinity for Pittsburgh, and that's the weird thing. Before the whole contract came out with the $3 million in guarantees, and also even Juju's mom saying that whenever you saw it was just 1 year, $10 million, I was like, you know what? Yeah, there's no shot in hell the Steelers were going to pay that, especially for Juju, what he's provided. Like, he's just not worth that to what we're trying to do here on offense right now anymore. But when you're talking $3 million, it's like, could you have brought him back? But maybe the Steelers, they were just trying to move on. And it goes back to what we were saying. Like, it would have felt like more of the same if you just have those guys as your top three again. Because I would have guessed, I'm guessing right now, too, they're even thinking about receiver early on, or even bringing in one of these other guys that brings just a different dynamic. Because if it's just Juju, Claypool, and Deontay, I don't know how good I feel about that. I want something different at least.
Yeah. For me, man, I shared a similar sentiment when I heard the information about the contract that was guaranteed. It definitely made a lot more sense that Juju probably did want to come back, and the Steelers were kind of just like, we'd rather go a different direction, solely based on what we talked about. When you have the situation that we're going to have at quarterback, separation matters. Guys that can win in a hurry matters, and we said Juju's game isn't predicated on that. Juju's game is predicated on that quarterback having pinpoint accuracy, because he doesn't get a lot of separation, but he excels with combat catches, especially against linebackers and safeties. And if you're the Steelers, you might have just felt that, man, we need a different version in that slot. We need, guys that can win in a hurry, guys that can be more quarterback friendly. And Juju just unfortunately doesn't bring that. I mean, we know what he brings in terms of, his blocking, his physicality and stuff like that, the run after catch ability. But it's just one of those things where I just think that, man, with the draft class, the way that it is with these receivers, you can get a major upgrade there. With some of these veteran free agents that are available right now, you could potentially get one of those guys. Maybe, you spend a little bit more on them, but you're getting way more proven productivity and high quality leadership in that room as well. That was kind of my thought process with it. But at the same time, I think it's a smart move for Juju. I don't think his numbers are going to be godly just because he's debatable third option there in Kansas City right now. When you talk about Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and obviously how McCole Hardman has emerged, I think that, Juju's still going to get his opportunities, but
they brought back Josh Gordon too.
Yeah, and Josh Gordon. So it's like, man, they're stacked at receiver, and they still have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who we know can get the job done out the backfield. I just think that it's going to be a crowded receiver room where he's not going to get force-fed targets like he's accustomed to having in Pittsburgh, where he was a high-volume guy in a sense. But I still think that he's going to do well out there in Kansas City. It's just this is going to be a different situation for him because of the talent that they have in that room. And that makes a lot more sense seeing the guaranteed portion of the contract as well, because when I saw the 1 for 10.75, I was just like, man, that's a lot knowing the piece that they already have out there. But seeing that only $3 million of it is essentially guaranteed, it changes a lot in terms of my perspective of his role in Kansas City's offense. But it creates a significant hole when you talk about Ray McLeod being gone and James Washington being gone as well. I think you replaced part of that with Gunnar. I think Gunnar Olszewski is going to do just fine as our return man. We're going to love that. I mean, you watch him on tape, dude's tough as nails, man. He gets after it, man. And he has big play potential. But at the same time, I still feel like we're going to need to bring in a higher end guy to that receiver room. Now, if we do a free agency, we've seen Julio Jones available. We talked about A.J. Green, T.Y. Hilton, guys like them. I'm cool taking any of those guys, and I still would want to draft one of these younger receivers. Yeah. Me personally, I would go pick up one of those guys in free agency because I know they're going to be a little bit cheaper if they got anything left in the tank. We know how we feel about those caliber receivers. It's kind of like when we hear AB. Man, and I think he said he wanted to go to Cleveland all of a sudden as well. Now that I think about it. But it's like, it's certain receivers like them where you don't even care what it might have looked like the year prior. You say if that guy is healthy, he gives you a chance. So, yeah, if you could get a Julio, A.J. Green, and T.Y. Hilton, one of those caliber guys, yeah, you go get them for a team-friendly deal. But I still want to draft one of these receivers. I lean more receiver now in that first round than any other position. And I want a speed guy as well. So, for me, man, when I kind of boil down to it, I say, man, if it's Chris Olave, great. If it's Garrett Wilson, great. But at the same time, I'm fine taking Jamison Williams, even though I know he'll probably be limited at the early portion of the season. I just think that, man, the speed that he plays with and his big play capability, it makes a ton of sense to me because that is still what we are missing right now in our receiving room. We have the combat catch guy in Chase Claypool. We have the route runner in Deontay, but we don't have that guy that threatens you down the field. And the three guys that I just named in the draft, I think that all three of those guys would come in and add that element. And they don't have to have that pressure of feeling like they got to be the number one receiver year one because you still have Deontay who's been playing at a crazy high level lately. And we're hoping that Chase can, start to just get his game more consistent going forward. And that should help them out a lot.
With Juju, it feels a lot like Joe Hayden. Yeah. Where like Joe Hayden wants to be back. Mm-hmm. Juju wants to be back. And even if they would be willing to come back for less, I think the Steelers are just ready to move on from both of them. Yeah. Because we just signed Akello and Levi Wallace. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, so if we bring back Joe, are they going to be – is he going to be taking either one of their playing times? Yeah. That doesn't make sense. And then same with Juju. Yeah. Like if you're just ready for someone new at wide receiver 3, because we already got our top 2 guys, Claypool and Deontay. Yeah. So if you think you could get someone better than Juju, or I don't know if I want to say better, but just a different dynamic in there.
Style. Yeah, different style of player. Yeah.
Then you just do it and you're just like, bro, like we want you back. But if you come back, then like you're our top 3. It's not like if we draft someone, like what it's just going to be a weird thing on the depth chart then. If you so don't be surprised though mid-year if we draft a guy, if we bring in one of these free agents, they surpass you, then you're going to be pissed off. So I just think it made sense for Steelers organization to just say, hey, we're moving on. But I could see why Juju wanted to be back, like if he really liked it.
And honestly, that's the reality of it. I know, even my situation when I left to go to Arizona, similar conversation. I was like, yeah, I wanted to stay here, but they communicated like, hey, man, we're going with these guys right here. And you staying here only hurts this part of that. It hurts that part of that. And they'll break it down to you. That's the one thing I love about Coach Tomlin and Kevin Colbert. They will communicate exactly why they feel like, hey, man, we just don't want to do it. Even though you're still a good player, it makes sense. It just for us right now, the way that we're going, guys, we want to get out there more. That's the part where you're just like, all right, I get it. And for some people, man, it hurts, it sucks. But at the other time, you understand it's a business. And you're like, that makes sense. I'm cool with that. So for me, man, when I saw this stuff about Juju wanting to be back, but obviously him not returning it for that price point, I totally understood it. And the same, like I said, with Joe Hayden. It's like, yeah, is Joe Hayden still a good player? Absolutely. But if you're trying to get Levi and Akello and Cam Sutton out there more, you want to draft a younger guy and get him developed, you're not getting those reps if Joe Hayden is on the team because Joe is still good enough that a lot of them younger players are going to have a problem or have a struggle beating him out. And even though Joe could give you maybe more consistent play this year, you say, man, I don't want to have Joe in this avenue where I can bring in this guy and really develop him into the guy that I want him to be. But he can't get that sitting on the bench. And that's just a part of it. So it's like at times it sucks, but you're like, man, that's the nature of the business. We all came in the league and took somebody's job. And at the end of the day, that's the circle of life. You play this game long enough, man.
Yeah, it's less about the money and just the
Yeah,
direction the
yeah.
team or the organization wants to go in. How about this one? Aaron Ladd from Twitter. This is one of Juju's comments in his press conference. Juju was asked about his TikTok dances. He says, "Do I see myself doing that here?" He says, "I'm here to work. I came here to win." Wow.
Hey.
Well, he did give it up last year anyway.
But I also saw where he was like, "Do you think the TikToks were a distraction in Pittsburgh?" He was like, "Nah, no, they weren't. We're good."
Oh yeah, he said that too.
I was
He
like,
said that too. He's like, no one in the
I
locker
was
room
like,
cared.
man, maybe I was lost. I thought they were a little bit of a distraction at the end, but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, trust me, that
I was
Monday
about to
night
say
game,
what?
that thing made
I was going to
headlines.
say that wasn't a distraction. I thought it was, but if he feels like it wasn't, all right, I'll roll with it, I guess.
It became a distraction. It definitely
Without a
did. The
doubt,
last two
man.
times. Well, I mean, it goes hand in hand when we started
Yeah,
losing
but
too.
it
But
was the losing and him not playing well and the TikToks and knowing that teams were eyeballing that and making it an issue. It's like, come on, bro. Like, don't do that. But
yeah, you're putting a target not only on your
right,
back but the rest of the team.
absolutely. So that's my only
And
thing,
you
man.
weren't playing like To or
Not at all,
AB.
man. No.
Okay, so that's Juju. Well, we got anything else with him?
No, that's the big thing right now. Yeah, but how'd you feel about
Yeah,
the
he did
receivers,
look
man?
like he was he did look like he was pissed though.
Yeah,
Going back to that early comment
yeah.
whenever he threw the hat on. Oh my god, it looked like such a
I'm
fake
gonna have to
smile,
look at
like
this
almost he
thing,
was holding
man.
back
I'm gonna have to
tears.
look at this thing, dude. But
He didn't look the same. He didn't look like the Juju we
all I
know.
know is, man, based on what people were sending me about what his mom was putting, I was like, yo, and shout out to Mama Juju, man. She's awesome, man. We've obviously been around her multiple times, man. Awesome lady. But yeah, she didn't seem like she was too happy either, man. I like the gratitude. I like the thanking of still a nation. But yeah, she also called us for the fake fans. She said, man, she lost some followers out there, man. Deke, did you
There's
know?
no way they lost 400K.
Bro, I
There's
swear I
no
was
way.
thinking the same thing. I'm like, hold on now, bro. Hold
That's
on
some
now.
fake news right
I was
there.
like, man, y'all might have
There's
embellished.
no way.
Y'all might have embellished just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. Mm.
Who's unfollowing Juju? If you're following Juju, you're not unfollowing him because he switched teams. You just
Yeah.
like Juju.
That was
You're not doing
that
that.
was what
You're
I was
probably
thinking,
more
bro.
upset with the Steelers.
Yeah. I was like, I just don't see that part of it. But if that's
Like
what
no
it
one's
was,
burning Juju's jersey.
I would agree. Yeah.
That 400K is there's just no way.
Maybe they're talking collectively like YouTube, TikTok, IG, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, AIM.
That's
You know
just
what I mean?
insanity.
Like
Then if you're
yeah, I'm just
checking
like,
that,
dude, this is nuts. Yeah,
there's no way.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's that thrilled to be in Kansas City. It doesn't. As weird as it sounds, he's got Mahomes
Yeah.
at quarterback. Obviously, Chiefs are going to be good, but I think he did want to be back in Pittsburgh.
I think he did. I think the move though to Kansas City is a year too late. I think if he would have went last year before Hardman really emerged to like that bona fide third target out there, I think it makes a lot of sense for Juju. I think right now though, you're going into a situation where there's a lot of dogs proven that are already over there. I think it's going to be tough for him to do what he wants to do in a sense, man.